It has been a few weeks since I helped Uncle Peter's ghost find peace. The house was quiet again. Um, the nightmare stopped. For the first time in ages, I could sleep without feeling like someone was watching me. You know, um, I thought everything was finally over, that I could move on with my life, but I was wrong. Yeah. One evening, I was sitting in my room, working on my laptop, when I heard a soft knock at the door. I frowned, confused. My mom wasn't at home, and I hadn't invited anyone over. I stood up and opened the door, you know, but there was no one there. Um, I stepped outside, you know, and looked around the hallway. It was empty. I shook my head, thinking maybe I was just imagining things, you know. Um, I went back to my room, but as I sat down back, I noticed something strange. On my desk, beside my laptop, was a small old photo frame. Um, I didn't recognize it. It was a picture of me and Uncle Peter when I was younger, taken at a family gathering, you know. But I didn't remember ever seeing that photo. I picked it up slowly, trying to figure out where it had come from. Um, the glass was cold, and the edges of the frame were covered in dust, as if it had been sitting there for ages. Yeah, I turned the photo over, and um, on the back there was a note written in a familiar handwriting. You didn't finish the job. I am still here. My heart stopped. Mm. Um, it was Uncle Peter's handwriting. I could feel my hands trembling as I put down the photo back on the desk. What did he mean by that? I thought. I thought I had helped him move on. I thought everything was over. The days followed, felt like a blur. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Every night I heard whispers again, um, soft at first, but growing louder. I kept telling myself it was nothing, that I was just, being paranoid. But then, strange things, started happening again. You know, one night I was, watching TV in the living room when I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around, but there was no one there. The house was empty, and I was alone. My heart raced as I looked around, feeling an icy chill around me. I tried to ignore it, but the feeling of being watched wouldn't get away. You know. Then the light flickered. I jumped up, my heart pounding in my chest. The power had never gone out before, and the light didn't usually flicker like that. I turned to hallway and froze. There, standing at the end of the corridor, was the shadow. Hmm. It wasn't a normal shadow, you know. It was tall and thin, and it looked it was it was moving. Slowly, it started, gliding towards me. You know, my body froze in place. It was Uncle Peter's ghost again, but this time he looked different. His face was pale, and his eyes were dark, like they had no soul left in them. He didn't finish the job. The voice came again, you know, whispering from the shadow. I stepped back, my breath shallow, my chest tight. No, I helped you move on. I did everything right, but the shadow didn't respond. It kept coming closer. You know, I turned and ran away and ran out of the house, not even caring to grab my jacket. I ran down the streets. I didn't stop running until I reached my friend's place, my friend's house. I knocked on the door, barely able to catch my breath. She let me in, and I quickly explained everything that happened. Um, my voice shaking with fear. Um, you think it is Uncle Peter? She asked, looking at me with concern. You know, I didn't know, but I feel like he's still there or he's still here. Like he's angry or something. I don't understand. My friend listened patiently, but she didn't seem convinced. Maybe you are just stressed. You've been through a lot lately, she said. But I knew deep down in me, it wasn't just stress. There was something else going on. Something I couldn't explain. You know. The next day, I went to Uncle Peter's old house again. I had to figure out what was going on. As soon as I stepped inside, I felt it. Yes, I felt it. The air was thick, heavy with, you know, same feeling I had when I first visited the house after his death. You know, it was as if the house was holding its breath, waiting for something. I made my way to the room where I had found the journal before. The room looked the same as I as I remembered, dusty, dark, and empty. But then something caught my eye. Yeah, the journal was gone. Hmm. I scanned the room, panic rising in my chest. I searched the shelves, the desk, and under the bed. The journal wasn't there, but there was something new. A small wooden box sitting on the floor. Hmm. You know, it looked old, like it had been there for years, but I had never seen it before. I opened the box carefully, and inside I found a small silver key. Um, Attached to the key was another note, written in the same handwriting as the note in the photo frame. Find the door, only then will you finish it. I felt my heart skipped a beat. What door? What am I supposed to do? You know, that night I returned to my mom's house, holding the key tightly in my hand, and I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the note, about the door, and about Uncle Peter's ghost. You know, what was I missing? I kept asking myself, what was I supposed to finish? I kept on asking myself. You know, around midnight, I woke up to a loud crash from the living room. My heart raced as I rushed out of my bedroom. The light flickered again, and the temperature in the house dropped. I could see my breath in the air. I walked towards the living room, my body shaking. When I entered, I saw it. There, in the middle of the room, was a door. I was sure it hadn't been there before. The door was old, made of dark wood, you know, and it had a rusty lock. I knew deep down this was the door Uncle Peter, wanted me to find. I took the key, my hands trembling, unlocked the door. It creaked open slowly, revealing a dark, narrow staircase that led down into the basement. I hesitated for a moment, but something told me I have no choice than to go down. You know, as I stepped into the basement, I saw a figure standing in the corner. It was Uncle Peter, you know. But this time, he didn't look angry. He looked sad. His eyes were still dark, but there was sadness in his face that I hadn't seen before. You came, he whispered. You finally finished it. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders as Uncle Peter's ghost began to fade, his form dissolving into the air. The coldness in the room disappeared and the darkness lifted. Thank you, he whispered one last time, hmm, before vanishing completely. The next morning, everything was normal again. The house felt lighter, you know, the whispers stopped, the shadow disappeared. I knew that Uncle Peter's spirit had finally found peace, and I too could finally move on. But this is a story of the ghost of my uncle haunting me, part two.